What if everything you thought was safe about your Social Security check wasn't? What if right now, at this very moment, there are changes happening inside the system that could take every single dollar from your monthly payment and you wouldn't even see it coming? No warning, no phone call, just nothing in your bank account on the day you were counting on it most. I know that sounds frightening. And honestly, it should, because this is real, this is happening, and the people who are going to be hurt the most are the ones who never got told the truth. That's exactly why senior authority exists. Because you worked too hard and waited too long to lose what's yours now. So please, stay with me until the very end of this video, because what I'm about to share with you could be the most important thing you hear all year. Think about what Social Security really means to you. It's not just a number on a bank statement. For tens of millions of Americans, it is the rent being paid. It is the medication being picked up. It is the heat staying on in the middle of winter. It is dignity. It is independence. It is the reward for a lifetime of showing up, working hard, and never giving up. You paid into this system with every single paycheck for decades, and you deserve to receive every dollar you earned without confusion, without fear, and without being blindsided by changes nobody told you about. That is the promise of senior authority. We do the research. We break down the rules in plain, honest language. And we warn you before things happen, not after it's too late. Now here's something that's causing a lot of confusion right now, and I want to clear it up completely. There are actually two separate events connected to March 7th, and most people are mixing them up or only know about one of them. The first happened on March 7th, 2025. The second is arriving on March 7th, 2026. Both of them are significant. Both of them affect your money. And by the time we finish today, you will understand exactly what each one means for you and your family. Let's start with March 7th, 2025, because this one already happened and it is already affecting people right now in ways that are absolutely devastating. On that date, the Social Security Administration made an announcement that quietly rocked the world of millions of retirees and disabled Americans. They reinstated a policy that gives them the power to take 100% of your monthly Social Security check. Not a portion, not a percentage, everything. And they can keep doing it month after month until they decide the debt is fully paid. I need you to really feel what that means. Your entire check. The money you use for groceries, for your electric bill, for your prescriptions, for everything that keeps your life running, just gone because of something called an overpayment. Here's what an overpayment actually is and why it matters so much. Sometimes the Social Security Administration makes mistakes. Your income might have changed. Your living situation may have shifted. There could have been a data error or paperwork that never got processed correctly. Whatever the cause, when the SSA pays you more than you were technically entitled to, they consider that an overpayment. And by law, they have the right to recover that money. For many years, their default approach was to withhold your entire monthly benefit until the full amount was repaid. If you owed them $3,000, they could stop your payments completely, month after month, until every cent was recovered. Can you imagine what that does to someone? An elderly person living alone. Someone with a disability who has absolutely no other income. You check your bank account on the day your check is supposed to arrive, and there's nothing there. That is not just a financial emergency. That is a crisis of survival. Back in 2023, the Biden administration stepped in and changed that policy. They reduced the default withholding rate from 100% all the way down to just 10%. That meant if you owed money to the SSA, they could only take back a small portion at a time. Your bills could still get paid. Your life could still continue. It wasn't perfect, but it was humane. It was the difference between hardship and devastation. But on March the 7th, 2025, that protection was taken away. Acting SSA Commissioner Lee Dudick announced that starting March 27, 2025, The 100% default withholding rate was back in full effect for Social Security beneficiaries. And here is the part I really need you to hold on to. If your overpayment was already established before March 27, 2025, you are protected. Your rate does not change. But if you receive a new overpayment notice after that date, the full 100% withholding rule now applies to you, which means your entire check could be at risk. Now, before the fear sets in completely, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not powerless. You have rights. Real rights that can protect you if you act quickly. You can call Social Security at 1-800-772-13 and request a lower recovery rate. You can file an appeal if you believe the overpayment was not your fault. You can request a hardship waiver if repaying would cause you serious financial suffering. And here is the critical piece that senior authority wants every single person watching to understand. While your appeal or waiver request is pending, the SSA cannot pursue recovery. Your action stops the clock. But only if you act. Only if you pick up that phone. Only if you do not throw away that notice or pretend it isn't sitting on your kitchen table. Please do not ignore those letters from Social Security. Read every word. Take it seriously. Because the people who get hurt are always the ones who waited too long. Now let's talk about March 7th, 2026, because this one is even larger in scale, and it is going to touch every single person who has anything to do with Social Security. This is the most sweeping internal overhaul the Social Security Administration has attempted in more than a generation. We are talking about a complete restructuring of how 72.5 million Americans receive their services. To understand why this is such a big deal, you have to understand how broken the current system really is. For decades, the SSA has operated through more than 1,200 local field offices scattered across the country. And every single one of those offices ran like its own separate world, its own appointment calendar, its own case backlog, its own pace, its own chaos. If you happen to live near a busy, overwhelmed office in a big city, you might wait weeks or even months just to speak with someone. But someone in a quieter town down the road might walk in and get helped the same day. Same country, same system, same exact problem. Completely different outcomes based purely on your zip code. That is not fairness. That is not how a system built on the promise of security should work. And on top of that, the SSA has been hemorrhaging staff for years, thousands of workers gone, and at the same time, tens of millions of baby boomers reaching retirement age and flooding the system with new claims. The pressure built and built until something finally had to break open and change. That change arrives on March 7, 2026, in the form of two powerful new systems. The first is called the National Appointment Scheduling Calendar. The second is the National Workload Management System. Together, these two systems are going to tear down the old fragmented local model and replace it with one unified national operation. Think of it like this. Right now, the SSA is like 1,230 separate restaurants, each one struggling to manage their own kitchen, their own orders, their own staff, their own mess. Some are completely overwhelmed. Others barely have enough to do. The new system is like building one central command that sees every kitchen at once and routes every single order to wherever it can be handled fastest and most efficiently. When you call to schedule an appointment after March 7, 2026, your call will no longer sit in your local office's pile. It will enter a national pool. A representative anywhere in the country could pick up your case and handle it by phone. That means instead of waiting 3 frustrating weeks to be seen at your local overloaded office, you might get helped within days. And people will also be able to self-schedule online through this new system, which is a genuinely big deal for anyone who has spent hours sitting on hold just trying to talk to a human being. Claims already in the pipeline will work the same way. Right now, if your local office is backed up, your claim just sits there, untouched, waiting. Under the new system, idle claims will be automatically identified and redistributed to staff in offices across the country that actually have the capacity to work on them. Your retirement application or disability claim might end up being processed by someone in a completely different state, but the goal is that it actually gets processed instead of collecting dust. Now, I have to be completely honest with you, because that is what senior authority stands for. This transition is not without risk. There are real and legitimate concerns that experts and advocates are raising. A representative processing your disability case from another state may not be familiar with your state's specific rules and procedures. That lack of local knowledge could create extra complications, extra delays, extra back and forth at a time when you can least afford it. And any time a massive government agency flips the switch on an entirely new system overnight, history tells us the same story. Things tend to get harder before they get easier. Staff have to learn new software, new procedures, new everything, all at the same time, across all 1,230 field offices simultaneously. That is an enormously ambitious rollout, and the growing pains could be real and felt. So here is what senior authority is telling every single person watching right now. If you have any open, pending, or unfinished business with the Social Security Administration, please take care of it now. Before March 7, 2026, file that claim, submit that appeal, report that life change, update that information. The window to handle things while the old system is still running is open right now, and it will not stay open forever. If you are simply receiving your monthly payment and have nothing pending with the SSA, please take a breath. Your check is not going away. This overhaul is about the internal workings of the system, not your benefit amount, not your payment date. The direct deposit keeps coming. What's changing is how the machinery works behind the scenes. Now, I want to tell you about something that made a lot of people cry when it finally happened. Real tears. Because it was justice that had been denied for far too long. On January 5, 2025, President Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law. And for millions of Americans, particularly teachers, firefighters, police officers, postal workers, and other public servants, it was the moment they had been waiting for their entire retirement lives. For decades, two provisions buried inside Social Security law had been quietly and systematically reducing or completely eliminating the benefits of people who had genuinely earned them: the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. These rules were created in the 1980s, and they targeted people who worked in jobs that didn't pay into Social Security, like certain government and public service positions. Imagine this. You spent 25 years as a teacher, pouring your heart into classrooms, shaping young lives, giving everything you had. Your teaching job didn't pay into Social Security, but you also worked other jobs on the side: part-time jobs, summer jobs, jobs where Social Security taxes were taken out of every paycheck, just like everyone else. And then when you finally retired, the government turned around and reduced your Social Security benefit anyway, because of your teacher's pension. You were being punished for working harder, punished for building two sources of retirement security instead of one. It was deeply, fundamentally wrong. And the government pension offset was even crueler. If your spouse worked a government job that didn't pay into Social Security and then passed away, your survivor benefit could be reduced to almost nothing or wiped out entirely. Widows and widowers, already grieving, already struggling, finding out that the benefit they were counting on had been taken away by a rule written in fine print 4 decades ago. Heartbreaking doesn't even cover it. The Social Security Fairness Act eliminated both of these provisions permanently. Starting from January 2024, affected beneficiaries began receiving the full benefits they had earned, along with retroactive lump sum payments covering the months when their checks had been wrongfully reduced. If you are one of the roughly 3 million Americans affected by WEP or GPO, you should have already seen an increase in your monthly payment and a retroactive payment arrive in early 2025. If you have not seen those changes, or if you never filed for benefits because you assumed they'd be reduced, please contact Social Security immediately. Go to ssa.gov or call them directly. That money is yours. You earned it, every cent of it, and senior authority is telling you, do not leave it sitting unclaimed. Let's talk about identity verification next, because this change has caught people completely off guard, and the consequences of not knowing can be serious. For a long time, you could call Social Security, answer some security questions over the phone, and that was considered enough to verify your identity. That option is now gone for most types of transactions. Starting in 2025, if you want to change your direct deposit information, update your bank account, or make any kind of sensitive change to your Social Security account, you now have to do it either online through your My Social Security account using login.gov or id.me, or you have to go to a physical SSA office in person with your identification. This change was made because the fraud had become absolutely serious. Scammers were calling seniors, pretending to be from Social Security, gaining their trust, collecting their personal information over the phone, and then using that information to redirect their benefit payments into criminal accounts. Real people, real money, real lives destroyed. The new verification rules make it significantly harder for that to happen. But senior authority understands that not everyone is comfortable with technology. Not everyone has easy internet access. Not everyone can walk into a field office without difficulty. If that describes you, in-person options still exist, but you will need to plan ahead. The most important step you can take today, right now, before anything else, is to go to ssa.gov and set up your free My Social Security online account if you haven't done it already. It takes about 15 minutes. It gives you access to your full earnings record, your estimated benefit amounts, your payment history, and the ability to manage your account securely without sitting on hold for an hour. Having that account ready before you need it is one of the most powerful things you can do to protect yourself. Get it done today. A few more updates from 2025 that senior authority wants you to know about. There was a 2.5% cost of living adjustment at the start of the year. For someone receiving $2,000 a month, that's an extra $50 every month, $600 over the course of a year. When every dollar counts, that matters more than people realize. The earnings test was also updated. If you're collecting Social Security before your full retirement age and still working, the SSA will withhold $1 for every $2 you earn above $2,400 for the year. The good news is that money isn't permanently lost. Once you reach full retirement age, the SSA recalculates and gives it back in the form of higher monthly payments going forward. But in the short term, it affects your cash flow, and it's worth planning around. And full retirement age itself is shifting. For anyone born in 1960 or later, full retirement age is now 67. You can still claim as early as 62, but doing so permanently reduces your monthly benefit by as much as 30%. On the other end, if you can afford to wait past your full retirement age, every year you delay up to age 70 adds 8% to your check. Over a retirement that could last 20 or 30 years, that difference adds up to tens of thousands of dollars. Know your numbers, know your options, because this decision, once made, cannot be undone. So let me bring everything together, because I want to leave you with a clear, simple action plan. If you have any pending business with Social Security, anything at all, handle it right now before the March 7, 2026 transition. Set up your My Social Security account at ssa.gov today if you haven't already. It is free, it takes 15 minutes, and it is one of the most important things you will ever do for your financial security. If you received an overpayment notice, do not ignore it. Read it carefully. Call 1-800-772-1213. You have 60 days to file an appeal, and during that entire time, recovery is paused. Use that window. Protect yourself. If you are a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, a government worker, or the spouse of one, call Social Security today and find out if you are owed money under the Social Security Fairness Act. We are talking about potentially thousands of dollars in back pay that legally belongs to you. Don't walk away from it. At Senior Authority, we believe with everything we have that an informed person is a protected person. The people who suffer are not the ones who asked too many questions. They are the ones who were never told, who found the notice too late, who assumed everything was fine because nobody warned them otherwise. That is not going to be you. Because you are here, you are watching, and you care enough about your future to show up and learn. Social Security is not a favor. It is not charity. It is a promise that was made to you the very first time a Social Security tax was taken from your paycheck. A promise that said, you work hard, you contribute, and when the time comes, we will be there for you. You held up your end of that promise for decades. You deserve to hold every dollar that comes back to you. Senior Authority is here to make sure you know how to do exactly that. Please share this video with someone who needs it. A parent, a grandparent, a neighbor who doesn't spend much time online, a coworker who's getting close to retirement. Because the truth is, most people have no idea any of this is happening, and knowing can make an enormous difference in someone's life. If this video helped you today, drop a comment below and tell us. This community means everything to us at Senior Authority, and we love hearing from each and every one of you. Stay informed, stay strong, and we will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and everyone you love.